Hello, lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. Cory here. Now, today I wanted to do a walkthrough of the Black Moon Astrology Cards. Now, this was a deck that I had on pre-order for a really long time, it felt like, and it came around December. And while I was sick, I didn't really have an opportunity to do unboxings, but my kids had me like open up all of the decks that I was getting so that they could take a look at them. Now, this is by Blue Angel Publishing. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't actually go take a peek at these cards before I bought the deck. I really bought the deck off of the cover because I thought it was gorgeous. And I'm sitting here thinking, ooh, Black Moon Astrology Cards. Like, I don't have anything like that in my current collection. I'm going to be honest with you, when I first flipped through these cards, I was kind of disappointed. But I wanted to do a walkthrough for you guys so that you could make your own minds up about whether or not you like this deck. I'm still going to use it. It's just mixed media decks tend to not be my favorite types of decks. And that's only because the lines aren't as clean. I feel like it's a little bit distracting for me personally. And I know that a lot of folks like it. I do have other mixed media decks. I obviously have the Star Child Tarot. That is, a graphic mixed media. We've got, let's see, the Disciples Tarot, which is an indie deck. There's a couple others that I have where you're using photorealism mixed in with other graphic design elements. So you're mixing reality and graphic art. I've also backed Our Tarot on Kickstarter, which is also a very similar deck. So those types of artwork, it's not like a deal breaker for me, but it's not my preferred art style when it comes to oracle or tarot decks. And I'm kind of like getting off on a tangent when you guys just wanted to walk through this deck. So let's dive back into this. This is the backing, and this is the larger size oracle deck. It's very, very glossy. And here's the first one. We have Sun or Spirit. And it does have this, thicker cream border on it. We have Moon, Soul. Let's try and... Sorry, guys. Some of these really glossy decks are just going to pick up a lot of glare from my camera. Mercury, Mind. Venus, Love. Mars, Force. Saturn, Truth. Jupiter, Abundance. I do like all of the galactic overlays combined with the Renaissance and even some of the Egyptian artwork was interesting. I thought that was kind of like a unique combo to be pairing. But one of the things that's very upsetting, as you can see here, the picture quality, the image quality of the paintings and statues that was used is very grainy. And I don't know if that was done on purpose, if that was a style choice by the artist or creator of the deck. This deck was created by, book written by Susan Sheppard. And it looks like this whole deck was created by Susan. So I don't know if that was a style choice on her part, but I found it really distracting as I was flipping through it, and I still kind of find it a little bit distracting. So this is Chiron healing. I do appreciate the astrological symbols being on the cards themselves. That's very helpful. Uranus, genius. Neptune, sacrifice. This one I thought was a very lovely card. But again, it's so obviously like low quality grainy that it just still don't 100% know how I feel about this. Pluto transformation. Black Moon Lilith mystery. Now this was a card that I really did love. I don't see really any graininess on here. I see like a texture overlay for that matches the sculpture here, and it's just the color right here is stunning. And this is how I pictured the entire deck to be. So I like to do these as like kind of a surprise, but I'm really thinking I need to be like Googling all of these images before I pre-order another deck if they're available. That's the other struggle, is that oftentimes these decks that go on pre-order like this, and you're like the first consumer to purchase them, they don't give you a whole lot until it's released. And then you're just like, well, this is the deck that I got landed with. So we do have that. But this one did stand out as an instant favorite. And I'm like, ooh, I really like this card. So I may actually even end up using her in meditation and other, goddess work that I do. I have yet to really kind of work with Lilith, so that would be an interesting energy to connect with in 2018. And then we go into the actual signs. So we have Aries, I am. Taurus, I have. Gemini, I think. Cancer, I feel. Leo, I will. Virgo, I analyze. Libra, I balance. Scorpio, I transform. Sagittarius, I see, and that's what was used as the cover. Capricorn, I use. Aquarius, I know. Oh, Pisces. Almost lost him there. Pisces, I believe. And that's the other thing too, when you get these kind of really high glossy decks, cards tend to stick together. So you will have to pull them apart when you first unwrap this deck. First house, the body. And so now we're going through the different houses on an astrological chart. Second house, owning. Third house, messages. Fourth house, roots. Fifth house, creativity. Actually, I find those masks quite creepy and not really in alignment with the rest of this deck. So I'm like, why did you make that choice for creativity? I'm not the creator of the deck, so this is more in alignment. Sixth house, routine. Seventh house, partners. Eighth house, endings and beginnings. It's an interesting card. Ninth house, faith. 10th house, the world. 11th house, friends. 12th house, escape. Fire element, so now we're going through the elements. Desire. Earth element, stability. Air element, communicating. Water element, sensing. North node, life's purpose. South node, life's desires or life's debts. That was a weird Freudian slip there. Sorry, you guys. Life's debts. And if this looks familiar, this is the dragon from Red Dragon, if you guys recall that movie. And so I thought that was a very interesting painting choice for this one. Lunar eclipse, change. Solar eclipse, revolution. Part of fortune, increase. Grand trine, blessings. Going through other, certain aspects of your chart here. Grand cross, provoker. Yod, destiny. Jupiter return, benefits. Saturn return, age. Mercury retrograde, reinvention. Void of course moon, missing. And so we have a total of 52 cards in this stack. And the book itself fills up the entire box here. It's slightly larger than the deck. So the deck does kind of rattle around in the box. And there is a lot of information in this book. This guidebook happens to be one of my favorite things about this deck, you guys, because in just flipping through here, we do have, the typical introduction and then artist created spreads in the front, which is very helpful. And we do have the card meanings, but the introduction kind of goes through what are, we have the how to use this deck, but then we also have planets. She discusses what Mercury retrograde is, what the different positions are. We talk about in her astrological wheel spread here, she talks about the different houses and what those positions would mean in relation to what astrology has for the first, second, and third house. There's not a lot of, this isn't a 101 on astrology, but there's a lot of good definitions and explanations in here that someone who kind of knows a little bit about astrology but isn't fully aware of what a lot of the other terms are and is like, what the hell is a 10th house? And what's a void of course? That is explained within this guidebook, which is really beneficial. And it kind of gives you an idea of, after working with this deck, if you want to study astrology a bit more, it's a great introduction for card readers, especially, to be like, is astrology something that I should learn? And when you do, you can actually layer that symbolism into other decks. For example, there are astrological associations and planetary associations with each tarot card. And that is an additional, you don't have to read with those, but you can. And that's something I actually have a goal of for 2018, is to get more understanding and knowledge around astrological and planetary meanings, in particular as they relate to the tarot and the symbolism assigned to each card, so that I can layer those interpretations and those meanings onto the traditional meanings of the card for an even more robust reading for someone. So that's a big goal of mine, and I feel like this book does a really good job with laying out those definitions for the layman. So very, very thick, juicy book. There's at least 2 to 3 pages devoted to the meaning of each card. So you can see here we start with the third house message, and it goes all the way, almost 3 full pages. So really, really good stuff. Why don't we shuffle here and we'll read about the one of the cards and get the author's meaning behind it. Get like a mini astrology lesson in today's video for the both of us. And we received the one card in the deck that I don't like. We have fifth house creativity. Okay, 2018 is turning out to be the year of, we're just going to make you face all the shit you don't want to. So this is actually good because let's take a look at the artist's or the creator's intention with this card, and maybe, you know, the symbolism will shine through in this picture and it'll click for me. So let's see. We've got fifth house creativity. This is card number 29. And they are in order by the, they're numbered and in order by the number. Okay. So fifth house creativity. First, we have a quote from Pablo Picasso, who happens to be one of my favorite painters, by the way. Every child is an artist. The problem is staying an artist when you grow up. Just absolutely true. So it says here, be happy. Give yourself the gift of happiness. If the zodiac had a fun house, it would be the fifth house. Okay. That's where this picture is starting to really get a lot more clarity, because this definitely is like fun house, goofy material. Pleasure, creativity, and children are all elements of this house. Being ingenious and in the limelight is another element. We find our childlike imaginations through storytelling and fantasy. Playing is very much what the fifth house is all about. But why this part of the chart also rules over romance, that's why this part of the chart also rules over romance, especially the beginning stages. As children, our imaginations know no bounds and we indulge in creative performances. When as adults, we dip into this field, we allow our minds and hearts to roam free and produce masterpieces. When the fifth house brings romance, we also enter into a kind of playfulness, a sensual joy that happens inside the playground of adulthood. This card turning up in a reading indicates that you have created or will begin to create something to be proud of, something that will bring others joy. It may have you on a stage, okay, or just an area where adults can let down their hair and become as children, responsive, joyful, and free. So that's the first page of this, and we do go into a couple more pages, but I think we kind of get the idea that was meant here. So we do have a brief meaning. Fifth house card in brief. Pleasure, laughter, parties, getting a rush, attraction, the early stages of romance or the joyous element found in a healthy romance, flings, lovemaking, weddings, and marriage, children, childlike delights of the soul, being proud of offspring or students, pride, acting in a dignified and noble way, being of pure heart, art and creative impulse, creating for a dramatic or public purpose. The public, appearing in front of an audience. The stage, applause. Stage plays at schools, making movies and videos. B-movies. The entertainment business, graphic novels, games, and puzzles, expressing your creativity in unique and inventive ways with a view to presenting your work in a public forum. So there is a corresponding tarot card, which is the Six of Cups. And if you guys work with tarot, the Six of Cups is all about nostalgia. It's about that childhood playfulness and joy that you get from, play acting as children, drawing from those loving memories of being a child and being carefree and not worrying about troubles, responsibilities, adult stuff. And so I think that's like the perfect tarot card to pair with the definition that she has here for this fifth house. It says key ideas, the bliss of childhood, creativity, the stage, staying open, hobbies, having fun, festivities, and free expression. So personally, I would have liked to have seen the imagery on here go a bit more to, children at play, but she just went with, the creator decided to go with the stage imagery, I guess, if you will, as opposed to leaning more to the childhood and nostalgia imagery that you would typically see in a Six of Cups card. So there we have it. Fifth house creativity. That was our one card reading from this deck. And that completes our walkthrough, you guys. If you have this deck and have been using it, what do you think about it? How do you like working with it? Let me know in the comments below. I will continue to play with this and see what comes up for me and just kind of whether or not it grows on me. Because it's okay, but I'm not in love with it yet. So if this is a deck that you just recently received as well and have been using and have been loving, let me know, because I'm really anxious to see what you all think about this deck. But that is it for today's video, loves. Give it a thumbs up if you like this walkthrough, and more will be coming at you very, very soon, because I do have a lot of decks that are on pre-order at the moment that I will be adding to my collection, even though I already have 3 full shelves of decks. We're just going to keep piling it in. I want all the decks. Because I just love working with them. Day in, day out, every day. Tarot day. All right, guys. Love you so much. Thanks for watching. And I will catch you in my next video. But until then, blessed be.